The heart has built up protective layers through life, through challenging things that have happened, through heartbreak and loss. And we've unknowingly guarded the heart to help us to feel safe and to feel like we won't be vulnerable or expose ourselves to hardship again. But these blocks in the heart, unfortunately, block our progress with the heart awakening, part of awakening. And when we're going through this opening, this expansion in the heart center that happens organically through the process, we can actually come up against these blocks and feel them breaking through. It can actually be physical cracking open that happens. And this usually happens when we experience some kind of deep loss or heartbreak, such as the end of a close relationship, or we lose someone, they pass away, and we can feel the heart opening, cracking, letting its guard down in that moment of grief and pain and heartbreak. And this really benefits awakening. We get the sense of it, can we just break our heart completely open, break all of the barriers apart, so that the heart can then be completely open and stay open, which is where it gets to for the permanent heart awakening. It's progressively opening to a point where it stays open. But to get through those layers, often immense heartbreak is what allows things to crack open. And this was the case for me in my own journey through awakening. I noticed that through the biggest times of heartbreak was where biggest shifts would happen on a heart level. And yes, it was painful, but I could also see how well that was helping for the heart awakening. And so allowing the things that happen in life that are challenging, the heartbreak that happens, allowing the pain of the world that you can feel, the collective suffering of others, allowing that to break the heart open, allowing yourself to feel it without resisting it. And sometimes it can feel overwhelming. It can feel overwhelming to feel so much and feel so deeply what is going on in the world. And to also feel so deeply what is going on in our own life as things are changing through awakening and dropping away, and the loss that we can experience and the heartbreak we can experience. Of course, it's painful to feel everything so deeply. And the further along we go with awakening, the less we're able to even resist what is arising. But we can see how helpful this is for the awakening process in our own direct experience. We can see that with loss that we experience, with suffering that we feel for others, for family members, for the collective as a whole, as we feel that, the heart opens more and progressively more and continues to open. And we may initially have thoughts like, this, it's too painful. I can't hold this much pain. I can't feel this much. But we find out through our own experience that we actually can. We can actually feel a lot more than we could have ever imagined, and that it doesn't do us any harm to feel things very deeply. And so we start to lean into those areas that are painful, whether it's the suffering of animals, the suffering of humanity, the suffering of being asleep, the suffering of our loved ones. We don't run from feeling that anymore, because we see we can feel. We have an endless capacity to feel pain, but also everything on the flip side, love and bliss, that the heart has the capacity to feel everything if we allow it to break open. So we go on a journey with awakening of breaking through these barriers that we've put up there to guard ourselves. We break through them incrementally, and we get to a state where we feel very vulnerable, and we really can be in quite a vulnerable state. We can even get taken advantage of with having such an open heart in this way. And so at the same time, we want to be learning wisdom. We want to be learning about boundaries and how to keep ourselves safe in the world, so that we can operate in the world from such an open place, which is where this is heading, with a permanently open heart, which could be vulnerable if it doesn't have the wisdom element attached to it. And so we would hope that we're developing both the heart and the vulnerability and the openness and the love, and also the wisdom and the boundaries, so that we can function, so that we're highly functioning in the world. So let the world break your heart open. Let life break it open. There's nothing to fear. It may be intense at times, but we get very used to feeling what suffering feels like collectively, personally, genetically. We see we have an endless capacity to feel that. We don't need to run away from it. We have an endless capacity to feel love as well. And through this surrendering this to this process of the heart awakening, which can be painful, particularly initially, we start to see that there's so much feel good stuff there as well. All the love is there as well. And so if we're courageous and we lean into the painful parts, we lean into where the heart is breaking, and don't avoid anything. Don't use avoidance strategies to stop feeling it. And instead just go into the pain and feel it fully. We'll notice the heart expanding and opening. It's really a beautiful process, and it's really beautiful to be able to feel all of that pain and all of the joy and all of the love, and feel absolutely everything, and know that you don't have to run from any of it. We start to become a really heart-orientated being. We lead from the heart with wisdom. We drop down from the mind. Instead of trying to figure everything out, we operate in a feeling way from the heart center, which is a really beautiful way to operate in the world.